Hey, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Ask a Photo Pro with your friendly neighborhood photographer. It is me. I am the one they call Carty. I'm here to help you level up your photography. Today we're doing photo reviews. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We're looking at the Discord today. We're doing some photo reviews. Welcome, Sebastian. Welcome, Peter. Thanks for being here first. There's nothing better than being first in chat, you know? It's kind of dope. I appreciate y'all. Today is a Discord party, so if you're not in my Discord, you got to go to the video description of the video you're watching right now and jump into the Discord. Make sure that you join your YouTube to your Discord, which you do in the Discord settings, and then your membership will show in my Discord. It'll show that you're a Discord member. If you look right here on my Discord and you see right here where it says YouTube channel members right here, once you do that, you're able to access my Ask a Photo Pro, which you'll see right here. If you don't join your Discord and if you don't become a member, you're not able to see this stuff. And look at all these people who are asking for portfolio reviews, website reviews, and photo reviews. That's how you do it, because I'm sure you guys are wondering how you have your photos reviewed. So that's how you do it. Welcome, Alice. Glad you're here. Vicky is a part of my mentorship program. Welcome, Cora. Glad you're here. Glad you're here. It's sick. The Discord's popping. This channel all of a sudden is popping, which is pretty dope. So I'm wearing the Carty hat. I have a merch store. You guys know about my merch store. I've decided to like strategically spread some hats around my set. You'll see one here. You'll see two back there. That's to get you excited about rocking some Carty Crew merch, babies. All right, let's get into it. So, as you know, once a week or so, when there are photos to review, I do photo reviews. The photo reviews I do are pretty intensive. You're about to see how I review photos. But before we get into the photo reviews, we do have a website review from Willie. Willie says, I've been working tirelessly on curating my website, trying to curate a good flow with my images, tell a fun and interesting story about who I am, and try to keep things as simple as possible. I'm limited what I can do, as it's a free Adobe web page. Don't knock Adobe Portfolio. I've been using Adobe Portfolio for like 5 years. Let me know your thoughts. As far as my logo branding goes, not interested in cursive signature or aperture blades for the logo. Good graphic design is memorable. Blah, 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 blah. So, his logo's far from where he wants it. He's making do with what he has. This is a website from Will, also known as Stay Sharp. It's our first review of the day. Off the top, Will, I like the opening. I like the homepage. The logo is strong. Welcome, Julie. By the way, say hi to Julie, all the way from the Ukraine. All the way from war-torn Kiev, this girl is watching this stream. Welcome, Julie. Glad you're back. So we click to enter, and we are into the work. Portraits. I feel like here we're using a little bit, not enough real estate. I feel like these thumbnails, you could hit this with big blocks. Meaning, I know it's Adobe Portfolio, but you can make these 4 thumbnails larger. You can do 2 and then 2 more and space them the same way that you have the spacing here. Just make them large. Make them this big. Let's go. I'm glad you're here, Moomin. So yeah, just make them this big, roughly. And see if you can get them within the fold, like your 4 boxes, okay? Let's have a look at your portraits. I like how this is laid out, but in Adobe Portfolio, you are setting a width. You're setting the width, and it looks like you're setting the width at like 1920. Set the width at nothing. So don't restrict the width. Because you're restricting the width, we have this white space here and here. You'll see on my website, you'll see on my website that I don't restrict the width. So you see here, my photos go corner to corner. So that's because I'm not restricting the width. And it's dynamic and it's always going corner to corner. Again, Adobe Portfolio, it is super easy. You just, here, I'm gonna show you just quickly because that's the kind of guy that I am. You go into edit your site. This is the back end of Adobe Portfolio. You say site-wide, website container. Shows you right here, your website container. And blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Website container. Website container. Max width, 0. You see this right here? Max width is nothing. If you put anything here, if you put 1920, it contains your website to a width like you see I've done right there, which is exactly how your website is. It's contained to a width. Make the width nothing. Delete that. And then it snaps to as wide as your screen is. Yes or yes. Cool. That's how to do it. Let's get back into Will's website. The photos are good. The photos are good. I feel like portraits onto lifestyle, like this isn't exactly a portrait, more of a portrait, more of a portrait. This is good. Also, your proportions are changing. You notice how your widths are going like this. Width, 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 width. This is an 8x12. This is cropped to 9x12. This is an 8x12. So make sure all your proportions are the same so they're not jumping between photo. It's a bit jarring. I definitely could help you with the edit as far as what you're sharing. And then also the treatment. I noticed this photo has no treatment. It's quite natural. But then I notice this photo has a bit of a treatment on it that doesn't look like the other photo, which means like it might be another photographer. Try not to jump around too much with your treatments. This black and white versus this black and white, totally different black and white techniques, totally different black and white style, different contrast, different everything. So when it comes to your website, you really have to unify your style because you're showing it all together and you see it right away. Fashion and lifestyle. For me, this is a stronger category and should be first. This is great, great, great. This doesn't fit into the portrait fashion lifestyle as much as some of the other work. Yeah, I could definitely help you order your categories for sure. For sure. The opening story is the strongest work. I think I'd like to see more stuff like this opening story, Will. Let's look at something else. Street photography. This is inspired. This is inspired. Definitely feeling this. Again, I just want to see you use more resource. The photos really need to be bigger. I feel like spatially, there's too much margin. Oops. There's too much margin here. Wow, I'm making circles right now. There's too much margin. here. There's too much margin here. And this might be too big. It's really dominating. But I do like this category. I think it's really strong work. And architecture. This is the least amount of photos here. They definitely need to be bigger. I would show less photos across per row. I would show no more than 4 per row, which is something that you can set. Then these pictures, there'd be more down here. It would feel more substantial. And again, too much border. Overall, Will, as far as getting this far, working on a website, there's nothing harder. There's nothing harder than actually getting in and doing your website. So kudos to you for actually getting that far. As far as your about page, you definitely need a punchy about page. If you look at my about page, I have a video, I have a photo, and I'm trying to use like all of the resources that I have. Short little video, bio, and leading with the photo. So I feel like you could do a little bit more with your about page and your contact page. People hate contact forms. I want to see your email address, your phone number. There's no phone number. There's no way to reach you other than a contact form that could be just sent out into the ether. Again, your contact information, it's a standard, like your phone number, your address if you want to keep it, your email, and clickable. And I put testimonials here in my, and another photo. So again, make it like this isn't enough for me to actually want to reach out. That says nothing about you, what city you're in, what your name is. It's just, it's too elusive. Give more for your contact information. That is a little bit of a website review for Will. I hope that helps you stay sharp, and everyone else who's watching, you see how I break down everything. You see how I break down websites, and I think it's all very necessary when it comes to advancing your work to the next level. All right, let's get into some photos, yeah? Let's get into some photos. We have some more submissions here. Peter put some stuff here on Behance. Peter, I like this a lot. This is going to be our first photo review, which is Peter's headshots by Peter. You see how I can't see your name here because it's truenated. So like your name is the most important thing. And because it's cut off, I know it's Peter Joachim Photography, but people who are here don't know that. Just say your name here, Peter. Please, just put your name. The headshot by, you have headshot here. You have headshot here. Nowhere is your name. Your name is the most important thing. The thing that you want people to remember is your name. I see headshots. So you don't need to drill headshot. Say Peter Jacquin and then your headshots. The name is what we're trying to get into people's heads. This is a very strong portrait. Very strong. Very strong. I would like to see it without the border. I'd love to see it without the border, but this is a very strong photo. Strong. There's a bit of a color balance and a technique. I actually quite like this, Peter. I like the look. When you go into now this photo, the color balance and everything is just so different. The skin tone is different. The exposure is different. I mean, the photograph is strong, but it's just it just, the treatment is different, and it's the same person, and it's within the same story. So these kinds of nuance is what art directors notice, designers notice. The consistency between styles is definitely what we're looking for. This is a strong portrait, a strong natural light portrait, great background. It's got good discipline. It's got good framing. Yeah, it's a strong photo. It's a little bit like, it feels like it's soft, and it's not soft in like out of focus. It's soft as in there's some sort of a filter or some sort of like lowering the clarity and lowering the texture in Lightroom so much that it actually starts to get hazy. It looks nothing like when you shoot men. So you have to have a sensibility between when you shoot men and when you shoot women, and it has to match. It can't be a completely different processing style when you're photographing a woman and photographing a man. The light, the idea, even the shot, it's great. I just think that the processing is where you're losing me on this picture. You have to learn how to fix women's skin. I would really love to see like perfect retouching, so we're not seeing these flaws, which I think are really easy to take away. So it's just small things, Peter. Also, these photos could all be in one category, just called portraits. I know that you're trying to fill up your Behance, but I want to see more. I want to see more. The work is good. The work is good. I just would love to see more portraits and a consistency between your processing, a consistency from image to image. All your black and white looks the same. All your color looks the same, and you're not deviating so much between your images. Because again, when you're dealing with a trained eye, when you're dealing with art directors, designers, photo editors, people who look at photography all day, every day, that's the stuff that they notice, and that's the stuff that creates doubt, and doubt doesn't get you hired. So I hope that helps. That's a photo review for Peter Jacquim. All right, let's look at some photos from Saucy. Saucy's a young shooter. Saucy, I think, is like 15, I want to say. Like, Saucy is a young cat and has been watching me for a while and makes really great photos. This is really great. I mean, it's live photography, which is different than shooting like editorially, but the light, these light shafts, that leading line, him looking upwards into that light, all of these things just make this like a really great photo. Everything really feels good for me here. I like this photo a lot. This is super strong. I have no complaints here, Saucy. This is what we call dope. You get rated. This is your first 11. My first 11 of the day. I like this a lot. All right, let's get into another photo from Saucy. This is great too. This is another punch in. Great focus, great exposure, decisive moment. You have a great spot in order to shoot this. You can see it works as a cover of our amazing Behind the Picture magazine. It's strong. You know, there's nothing, again, if live photography is something that you're trying to do, you're doing it well here, Saucy. This is really great. Should be happy. All right, let's look at a couple more. This is another strong photo. And a great perspective. The light change, amazing. And you shot this with the right lens, with the right everything. This is another really great capture. You should be super proud of this work. Very, very great. By the way, I am doing photo reviews submitted by my viewers. These are all my viewers' photographs. If you'd like your photographs reviewed, you got to join my Discord. It's in the video description of the video that you're watching right now, and all my videos. This is another great one, Saucy. You should be thrilled about this. Great, great, great. I mean, yes, I could see him moved over a little bit. I could see this whole scene moved over a little bit. I feel like we have quite a bit of unnecessary space here. Would love to see this dropping somewhere around here so this guy isn't cut off. I'm sure you got great edits here. I'm sure you got edits that are better, stronger than this one. Although the black and white is great. It's not as strong as this, and this. So 2 cents in a bag of chips. This one is your weakest picture, but they're all pretty goddamn good. So you should be thrilled. That is some photography from Saucy. Let's go, Saucy. Thanks for submitting, my guy. Appreciate you. Saucy is a young photographer from the US of A who's been watching me for quite a while. Let's go, Saucy. All right. Mr. Rogers says, I went home to Alaska to capture images for my second coffee table book. I'm from Fairbanks, Alaska, now living in Las Vegas, specializing in portraits, headshots, but I produce landscapes for his photo books. Mr. Rogers is not messing around. Wait till you see this photography. Let's go. This is absolutely gorgeous. First submission from Mr. Rogers. What? Let's go. Holy shit. Are you seeing the level of photography that is getting submitted? Are you seeing this? This is bananas. I have to hide my photo. I have to hide myself so you guys can take in the wonder that is Mr. Rogers. Beautiful, beautiful composition. Beautiful leading line. The discipline of thirds on his horizon. The offset. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. And with the high quality content, like this is absolutely everything. Welcome, Jacqueline. Thanks for subscribing. This is amazing. Look at the trees in here, the out of focus, and just this infinite depth of field. This amazing mountain range is, and these beautiful foothills. The layers in this photograph, it's mind-bending. Mind-bending, mind-bending. This is photography from a new viewer we call Mr. Rogers. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Wow. 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 Absolutely getting all the love here, Mr. Rogers. This is no joke. That's photo one. You guys want another one? You want another one from Mr. Rogers? Yes or yes? Woo! Wowzer. That's photo one. Let's get into photo number two. Holy shit. I really like the HDR feels. I like the HDR feels. The crop for this one's a little bit of a different crop. It's a little bit more of a widescreen feel. For me, I love the big fill the whole image. I definitely love the leading line. I love the fact that you're documenting this oil and how you have this coming through this whole frame, which is really quite amazing. The Rockies in the background, obviously super strong. The clouds, very strong. I just, to me, honestly, I want more of this photo. And I know that means if I get more of this photo, it likely means that it has to be cropped this way. And we have to take this photo in this way, like a panoramic, which I don't mind at all. But again, this is spectacular. Is this as strong as this one. For me, this one's the winner so far if we're comparing photo to photo. We're looking at photos from Mr. Rogers, by the way. That is photo number 2. And the last photo from Mr. Rogers is a vertical banger, a beautiful waterfall. This is really strong, really strong. I want you to watch the digitalness. We are getting a little bit of data, and we're getting a little bit of cutout that's happening here. I definitely see that. I have a keen eye, as most creatives do, but the data that you have happening up here, the clipping and that kind of stuff, get really good at doing it so it's indistinguishable. Make sure, just make sure that it's indistinguishable. For me, that little bit of data in that upper corner is actually taking away from this photograph for me. That to me is the gold right here. It's a very strong photograph, strong leading line. Just get into that post-production and make sure that that is tight like a tiger. Mr. Rogers, clearly, for me, this is your best photo. Your best photo of the photos that you have submitted. For this photo, you get the smoke because you deserve it. This is an absolute banger. You should be thrilled with this photograph. It's wow. All right. Speaking of smoke, let's get it on. All right. Let's see who else we have here. All right. Who else do we have here to look at? Florian Detail. Florian says, I'm super glad that I found a place where I'm ready to get some feedback on my pictures. I started out with portraits in March 2023. Very, very new photographer, and I'm curious for feedback. All right, Florian, let's have a look at some photography. Well, this is a really great portrait. You have a really great sensibility. I love the closeness. The focus is amazing. Your focus is amazing. Your exposure is amazing. The depth of field, meaning you're shooting around f4, I would say. Maybe you're shooting at f2.8. Super tack sharp eyes, ears out of focus, nose in focus, mouth in focus. This is really great. Look at the beautiful bokeh that's happening in the background. This is a 11 out of 10. As far as like you've been shooting April, May, June, July, August for 5 months. Let's go. Let's go. Guys, Florian has been shooting for 5 months. This is great. Florian, you should be thrilled. If you're really trying to do portrait photography, wow. This is a square. I'd prefer to see this as a whole photo, meaning don't crop your photos. Like, let's see what the 8x12 looks like. I want to see what's below, what's above. I'd like to see the whole frame. It's the best way for me to actually help you. Focus is strong. Again, very similar technique to before. I like the head angle. It's strong. The exposure here, because you're shooting in like either sunset, and that says sunset, and the light is dropping. The exposure here, I would say, is under by from like half a stop to 2/3 of a stop. It still is pretty. I like it. But exposure is low. I know that you might have been looking or going for this kind of a feeling. when you're new with photography and new with exposure, you have to learn what normal is. This is way closer to a normal exposure. This is underexposed by about half a stop. So when you're new, I want you to really practice getting perfect exposure every time. And if you're new, it doesn't mean shooting manual, because manual, again, you need to train your eye as far as what normal looks like. My suggestion, shoot aperture priority or shutter priority and use exposure compensation to like bump it up or make it darker. Let's look at another from Florian. It's a cool photo. It looks a little bit like it's not the right moment for me. Her turned sideways, her like kind of in between a moment. It's not, it doesn't hit as hard as this. It doesn't hit as hard as this even. The light is inspired, but because you're aiming into the light, your light source is coming from here. Because you're aiming into the light, it wants to expose for back here. So it's giving you normal over here, where really you want normal here, which here is about a half, or again, 2/3 of a stop underexposed. So exposure here versus the exposure here. You see here, this is a normal exposure. And you can see this is dark and this is dark. So again, not taking away from the photography. This is very strong photography and an amazing photo. I want you to work on your exposure. Also with this picture, for me, the background's not adding to it. It's like, it's just someone standing here. You know what I mean? The background's not adding to the photograph. The cigarette's not adding to the photograph. It just looks like an in-between moment. You're trying to be a portrait photographer, just more deliberate moments, more making pictures and less taking pictures, if that makes any sense. Slow down and shoot more. Florian, really great effort. Clearly for me, this first photo is your best photo. This is definitely the one. Obviously, look at it as a cover. Definitely is a great shot and should be a starting point. I'd love to see you recreate this photograph with more faces. Definitely. I hope that helps. Did that help you, Florian? Did that help you? I hope so. All right, let's get it on. Who else do we have? We have my brother with his daily raven. My brother is a photographer. Actually, my brother's an artist. My brother is a painter and photographs in order to paint from the photographs that he takes. He has a raven that follows him around. So this is his daily photograph of that raven, shot with his Samsung. No lie, no doubt. Let's go. Thank you for submitting, my brother. AG Photos. Let's go, AG. AG, let's talk about the watermarks. AG, the watermark. I can't see anything else except for copyright AG Photos, which seems, let's go, Pete Crew, glad you're here, buddy, which seems like you're concerned about someone stealing said photo. All I'm seeing is, first of all, watermarking a photo is just a guarantee that it makes your photo less impactful than if there was no watermark. We shoot raw, therefore we digitally meta tag our raw photos with our copyright information. So when you open the photo in Photoshop, you see copyright AG Photos. Putting the copyright information on top of your photo just guarantees that nobody's going to share this. No one actually is even going to look at it because you don't see the photo, you just see the watermark. And in fact, this watermark is so predominant in this photo that I'm actually now talking to you about this watermark before we even look at the photo, because the watermark is not graphically beautiful and it's super distracting. So photographers, don't watermark your photos. Watermark your proofs for clients to stop them from using them. But if it is a final finished photo, you have the raw file. Anybody who steals your photos, you can find them online just by saying match this photo. You have the raw file. You can say, please credit me or please take it down. They'll credit you or they'll take it down. It's actually a compliment if someone steals your photo. It's a compliment if someone wants to use your photo. If they're stealing your photo, it'll never be for commerce. It'll never be for money. It'll only be for another website or whatever. And again, it's not going to happen if it's watermarked. So that's literally 3 full minutes on don't watermark photos. And if you're watermarking photos and wanting me to review them, that's also a conversation too. This photo is a JPEG or it's an iPhone photo because of the quality of the reproduction. You can see just digital. So this may be a phone photo, which is okay. But again, it's like I'm trying to review photography from people who are trying to be photographers. If you're trying to be a photographer and this is your pro camera, this photo is a JPEG and you've JPEG'd and JPEG'd and JPEG'd and JPEG'd and JPEG'd it to the point where you can't even see the files anymore. It's just data. So, yes, AG, I'm confused. You have to give me more context to this photo because right now it's beautiful tonally. It's just nice scene, but digitally and the capture and the quality and the file, all of it is so, it's confusing for me. So I need more context. Tell me, did you shoot RAW? What camera you shot on? And what's your goal with photography? Yeah, that kind of threw me, AG, honestly. Let's look to see if there's more. AG has more. Okay. AG. This one has double watermark. Double watermark. You wanted me to know so well that you had to put 2 watermarks on top of each other. AG. And again, the actual file quality is so low that I still don't know whether you're shooting RAW or whether you're shooting JPEGs or whether you're shooting with a phone. And I think for sure you need to look into file, like how to shoot RAW. We could definitely talk about it, but the people who are watching are a little bit more advanced than like, yeah, tell me again. I need to know what you're shooting with because this is another photo that is literally just the same. This is better in quality. This is better in quality for sure, AG, definitely. I see lots of different subject matter. I'm not really sure what it is that you like to shoot, what it is that you're trying to shoot, if you're trying to make a living at photography or if you're just shooting photos. Help me understand. Definitely put some of this info in the Discord for me so I can understand, so I can kind of tailor photo reviews towards like what it is that you're actually trying to do. Again, this photo looks almost like a painting. There's so much digital post-processing effect on it. It's almost no longer photography. So those are the photos that you're submitting. I don't know. I can't help you yet. I don't know how to help you yet because you're not giving me enough information. I need more information. Tell me what your goals are. Tell me what you're trying to do with your camera. And I will be able to help you once I know a little bit more about what your goals are, AG. All right. So, Peter, we saw some of these in the Behance. Let's look at this photo. We saw this in the Behance for sure. Definitely strong. Definitely strong. I like seeing it stand alone like this. Look at it as a cover for sure. Super strong. Super strong. Quality of the retouching, the post-production is dope. You could have definitely taken away that hair, which for me, this, like, I'll do this in my post. Like, if a hair is, like, just distracting, this nose hair down here distracting, just take it away. You know what I mean? It's just a hair. You know what I mean? Just a couple of small things. A little bit of hair here, a little bit of hair here. Just take away. You know, small things, but it's a super strong photo. You should be thrilled with this picture. Very, very strong. All right. Let's look at another. Again, we looked at this photo. I gave a critique on this photo already from Behance. Same things, same applies. And this is an alternate edit from that photo. Exposure and processing, same thing. This now is definitely plus 2/3 of a stop. Exposure here, it's too bright. It's too bright. And the post-processing, this like softening that you're doing is too much. It's too much, and it doesn't look like the rest of your photography. Yeah, it's too much. I'd love to see you really work to get better at skin, to get better at female skin, so your girl skin doesn't have that like washy or like blurred or like clarity / texture all the way down to like -100. To me, it looks a little bit too much like it's been pulled back. All right, who else do we got? Oh my God, there's so many photos today, guys. So many photos today. My brother has some more. This is due to the fires that are happening in Kamloops right now. This is basically a building melting, which is absolutely insane, Les. Thanks for sharing. Jesus. And picnic tables on fire, or previously on fire. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. Okay, we are now looking at, thanks for sharing, Les. I'm glad you're safe. So, Manic Realm says, here are some somewhat recent stills shot on the Alexa XT. I don't know what that means. The Fujifilm X-T3 and the Nikon F5. As I break down my images and study, I often make notes of the attributes that I want to keep. Some aspects like highlight roll-off or the color shifts from film are great. I test with Kodak Vision 3. On the Alexa, shadow and depth holds the best. I'm imagining the Alexa is like his Google camera. The main goal is to build something in post where I can get a close blend between them and somehow build them into power grades or recipes in Capture One. Okay. Let's look at photography from Manic Realm. This first picture, I do believe he said, is from his Alexa. And you're trying to get the color tone from this photograph, I'm gathering, is what you're talking about. Okay, let's have a look at another. I like this a lot. Again, I can't tell what's on what, but this looks very much like how tungsten film renders when you shoot it on daylight, how tungsten renders when you shoot it on daylight. Let's look at his other. And I believe this is film on his Nikon. I would love these to be a bit bigger. I feel like the black borders, maybe you can upload these without the black borders and just give me the photographs bigger so I can see them larger. I know you're trying to hold the letterbox, but you can see how much real estate we're wasting. It's a strong photo. Again, it's hard because it's not really like photo reviews that you're asking me to do here. This isn't really, you're just showing me what you're working on, which I appreciate. Trying to do some reviews, help, like, I don't know how I can help you in that process. Not really sure I understand even what you're doing with the creating LUTs, I guess, in Capture One. The portrait is strong and my favorite. That's more as far as like what I can help you with is making portrait photography better. I mean, I'm a portrait photographer. The other yeah, what's up, Dylan? Yeah, I'm a little and yes, the portrait is a little dark, but again, it's like I'm just confused with you shoot with the Alexa and yeah, I'm just not sure if you're a photographer, if you're a cinematographer, like you have to help me understand more. Yeah, they're like the shot in the kitchen, which looks like a webcam. I'm just trying to figure out commercial applications. Again, the more you help me understand Manic, the more I'll understand for sure. All right, Alice. Alice says, I have a few shoots and I want to share, excited to share. But for now, here's the first of what I have. I took some photos at a local fair, played with slow exposure and double exposure. It was very hard to pick just 3. Wow, Alice, this is fantastic. Really strong, really punchy color. Really strong, Alice. I like this a lot. I've been watching some of your reels as you've been shooting these. Strong. Like good discipline, good movement. Like I actually am really feeling how you have this very central. I love obviously just the movement here and the sky, the time of day. Literally the time of day that you chose to shoot these just makes them so much more dynamic that you shot this at sunset. It's just smart. You didn't go out to just go to this fair and make photos. You went out at the exact right time, Alice. You did a great job. This is fantastic. So good. So good. You should again be very, very, very thrilled with this set. It's fantastic. Fantastic. More photos from Alice. Again, very strong. Very strong. I mean, watch how close that you're clipping here as far as the toes. I know it's difficult to get them and have it like with the right space, but you know, if you make a print, you're going to cut that foot. So try to give them as much space as you can. Super strong. Double exposure, slow shutter. You can see the people ghosting. Really strong. Really strong. And also you can see that you're on a tripod. So all of this is like really sharp. Great clouds. Really strong, Alice. This is super, super, super good. You should be thrilled with this work. Really great. Really great, Alice. Yeah, great use of slow shutter as well. It's a little offset. It feels like it could use a little straightening. I feel like this is a little crooked here. This is a little crooked. I feel like you could rotate that a little bit. It kind of feels like this photo is falling to that way. Although this lines up. I would try to line up this. But again, it's a strong photo. Strong, strong. Strong. That one is that one. Strong. Really dynamic. I love the double exposure. I love the ghosting. that's happening here. Like this looks like 2 frames shot over top of each other, which is, again, very clever. It gets a little busy in here. But again, it's still a strong photo, Alice. You should be thrilled. Strong. Black and white, strong. This is a bit dark. Exposure wise, this is like minus, I would say 2/3 of a stop. We can bring a little bit more detail up here. And these, which are supposed to be white, are starting to get gray. So exposure. Exposure on this one. It needs just a little bit of a bump. But again, it's strong. Just needs a little bit of a bump. I like the motion here in the movement. This is strong, Alice. Strong. Just watch your edges here. You have to watch your edges here. Just because, again, that's going to cut when that goes to print. It's going to cut when it goes to a magazine. As a cover, it's super strong. But, again, watch your edges right here. All right. And Alice's last photo. This is strong. Really great color. Really punchy. Punchy color. Better exposure. It's still about minus 1/3 under. I feel like we could get a little bit more exposure in here. I definitely see these people blurred, but again, just a touch more exposure. Just a touch would bring just a little bit more detail in the trees up here. I think would be definitely necessary. Alice, let's go. You should be very happy with that body of work. Is there a favorite? Jesus. Favorite? Wow. Is there a favorite? Yeah, I'm going to give it to this one, Alice, for my favorite. We'll call this one your best photo. Very great. It's photos from Alice, also known as Vicky. Well done. Yo, thanks for subscribing, Aisha. Appreciate you. Welcome. All right. So, photo reviews. We got tons today. Tons. Dave has some photos to submit. Or Dave has some photos here. My God, I'm just trying to see if we can get through everybody here who's submitted. Dave says, some of the first photos I've taken helped me get better. That's such a general, we got to choose one thing to get better at a time. We got to choose one thing to get better at a time. In this particular scenario, the thing I would say that we got to try to get better at is your post-production. I see that you're blurring her skin. That blurring of the skin is something that is very noticeable. That's what people do before they know how to skin retouch. So that's one thing that you could definitely get better at. The watermark is not necessary. However, strategically placed in everything that it is. Yeah, again, watermarks, they're silly. They're just taking away from the work, honestly. I mean, yes, I know your name, but now I'm mad at Infinite Photos for putting that there. Let's look at another interesting angle. I'm not sure what's going on with the digital factor on the ground here. Like Photoshop is the best and also the worst thing that's happened to photography. Photoshop means that people just do what they want, whether it looks right or good or not. It looks like you're changing colors, you're changing the color of the grass, you're changing the background. What it ends up doing is just making this a mess. And especially when you're so new at photography. It's the same thing that I said earlier to another gentleman. Work on the foundations. Work on the foundations of your photography. Work on the foundations of photography in general before you start messing around in Photoshop, which you don't know anything about because you don't have the experience to know anything about. You don't see professional photographers messing around with the color of grass and that kind of stuff, which are all just tricks to distract you from bad photography. Make photography better. Make your photography better, and you won't need hooks and crutches. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, fun. Like literally, you're using too much Photoshop. You're using too much Photoshop, and the amount of instruction that I feel like you need um, is like only able to be given through my mentorship program. Like I can't possibly give it here just like through doing a photo. Like here's 4 photos I just started. Help me get better. Like that's like, dude. It's like, okay, I got to do my own operation. I got to operate on myself and take out this bullet. Teach me how to do it. It's like, guy, I've been doing this for 30 years. I can't give you 30 years of experience in 5 minutes, but I can tell you, stop fucking around with Photoshop. Literally. No French given. Just stop doing all this radical stuff in Photoshop and start looking at masters of photography. Look at Joseph Karsh. Look at Gordon Parks. Look at the masters from days gone by. Look at photography and notice, like, look at photography before there was film and before there was Photoshop and what photographers did. Study those photography. Like study that photography and give me your impression of like pure photography. I would like to see pure photography without bells and whistles and Photoshop. Because the Photoshop part of it is hurting your photography. It's not adding to it. Okay. This one is the most straight up. This one's the most straight up as far as photography goes, but you're still doing too much in post. You're making his black skin look blue. There's a texture thing that's making his skin look more textured than it needs to be. Again, to me, it's the things that you're doing in post-production that are actually butchering your photos. And the low angle idea of you on the ground, like aiming up, it's not flattering. You're looking up someone's nose. It's like, I shoot my photos at the exact eye line that the person is standing. Like I look directly at my subjects. I don't elevate them. You know, it's like, it's something that you see people who think that that's what photography is. Like, oh yeah, you look cool. Yeah, oh yeah, great. It's just, I don't know. I think that you need to go back to the foundations. I think you need to go back to the fundamentals and go back to the core of photography. 50 millimeter lens, black and white, and maybe no people as subject matter, and just shoot interesting things. And like, again, I'm a portrait photographer, I'm a people photographer. When I went to photography school, I wasn't allowed to shoot people for the first 6 months, and that gave me the discipline that when I actually did start shooting people again, I shot them so much better with discipline. It wasn't just willy-nilly random stuff, you know? All right, let's look at your last photo, which is a baby photo. This is the one that has the least amount of post-production, and because it has the least amount of post-production, it's actually, for me, the strongest photo. Exposure is dark, and the light is, it looks very much just like on-camera flash based on where the highlight is in the eye tells me that it's on-camera flash. The shadows tell me that it's on-camera flash. Exposure-wise, the color balance is blue because I imagine that this is white and this is white and not blue. So you have to make sure that you're getting your white balance correct. Yes. But again, you see how skin looks here. You didn't mess around so much in Photoshop here, which is why this photograph for me is the most successful of all. But also, when you're shooting, don't just drop your subject dead center when you're shooting horizontals. Like, that's the most simplest composition, is hold your camera like this and put your subject right in the center. If you think of a magazine has 2 pages. What's in the center? A gutter. So there's nowhere to put a photo across 2 pages when you put your subject right in the center. Offset your subject to the left, offset your subject to the right when you're shooting horizontals, or shoot vertical. Yeah, shoot vertical. All right, hope that helps. Hope that helps. Les, you've submitted so many photos, my guy. I have to go through some of the people who are new to the channel because I'm over an hour right now, and I'm getting to the end of my podcast time here. Let's look at this photograph from Shalen Story. When I saw this bust of Bengali poet in the rush of traffic, I took some photographs reimagining one of his songs. Okay. This photo, again, looks very much like an iPhone photo. If this is the subject that you're trying to take a photo of, taking a photo of a sculpture is like taking a photo of a painting. You're capturing someone else's art in a photo. For me, that's like capturing a painting in a photo. You're just being a reproduction. So I understand that you stopped and wanted to capture this because of, I guess, the meaning to it, but I'm trying to it's a cool photo. It's a cool photo. I just think that your reason for taking the photo, like, try to make photography the art itself, not someone else's art within your photograph. This is why when you shoot graffiti, you're basically just shooting someone else's work, unless you put a picture or put a person in front of it. Like, you know what I mean? These are more photos of the same, I guess this is a religious icon. I'm confused because I'm not Hindu. It looks dangerous is all I can say. And again, iPhone photography. I'm trying to review photography that from people who are trying to be photographers. Are you trying to be a photographer? I'm hoping you are. If you are, share more photography. Share photography that is and again, just more backstory. I need more backstory from some of these photos because it's leaving me a little confused. Peter submitted that photo again. I did look through it already. Julie says, portrait of Sofika. From the recent photo shoot in Kiev, I didn't have time or a chance to edit anything. I never share any of my photos raw like this, straight out of camera, no editing. Shot on the 6D, 50 millimeter, 1.8. Julie, this is really beautiful. What a beautiful kid. Like, inspired light, really sharp focus, which is great. Again, this child doesn't need much post-production. The exposure's a little low. Like, I know that you're going to do something in exposure, but it needs to go, I would say, up like a half a stop, maybe a third. The exposure here is just a little low, but I love the wonder in her eyes. Like, I just love it. Really, really strong as a cover. I love where her fingers are. It feels delicate. It feels beautiful. Like, this is a very, very strong photo. You should be thrilled with this picture. Dorch, you're very, very welcome. Very welcome. Very welcome. This is very strong, Julie. You should be very happy with this. And Willie, let's see how many we have here left. My goodness. Okay, first of all, Carrier, and you submitting quite late in the episode. All of these that are submitted after I've started today, I can't get to, meaning Riley, Shot by Micah, and Quarior. I will get to those photo reviews next episode. I've been going for an hour, getting a little tired. So I have to, and again, no one's watching back an hour of photo reviews. So I have to stop at Dwayne, who submitted at 5:46. The cutoff point for submissions is before the episode starts. If the episode starts and those photos aren't there, I can't review them the episode that you're watching. It's just too many, okay? All right, and we did look at many of these photos from your recent portrait shoot. I've seen all of these already in your website. I feel like there's some things there, but some of them don't really qualify as portraits. This is definitely a portrait. This less qualifies as a portrait. This, for me, less qualifies as a portrait. I definitely would love to talk to you just about how you cover a subject, how you photograph a subject, and how to like get the most out of it without it feeling like it's two different photographers. Like, it all feels like you, using non-distracting backgrounds, and some of the editorial rules that I talk about. By the way, Will, you should probably watch my video called Rules for Getting Published. It's about magazine rules. Yeah, there's many of these like compositional rules that some of you are breaking, that if you're trying to get like editorial magazine work, you have to follow those rules. It's kind of unwritten. And Willie, you'd be definitely well served to watch that video. The last reviews we're doing is for Dwayne. This is really beautiful and heartfelt, Dwayne. I love it. I wish they were larger. You can see this photo is quite small. The requirements for submitting photos: 4,000 pixels wide by 100 dpi. 4,000 pixels wide by 100 dpi. These photos, I feel, are all quite small. Again, very heartfelt. They're also all cropped to square, as if Instagram is the be-all, end-all place of sharing. You're losing a lot of your sensor by cropping to square, and it's not a format that, like, Instagram's the only place where you see a square in a grid. I would love to see the whole photo. I'd love to see how you shoot so I can help you crop and compose better. You cropping everything to a square is like cutting out half the story. And again, context helps me so much. Like, you're shooting a wedding. Are you the main shooter? Are you just there taking photos? This is, again, it's mixed in with like these super heartfelt, powerful moments, but then there's like wedding photos, you know what I mean? So I almost want you to help me by, you guys curate the stuff that I'm looking at, because yeah, I want to see the stuff that you are really like, this is my best, this is what I'm trying to do. Don't pad it, and also let's limit it to 5 photos. Yeah, these are heartfelt photos, amazing. I need them to be bigger. I can't judge or see actual quality of the photo when the files are so small. I'm looking at it on a 4K screen, and when they're this tiny, it's like I can't even see if they're really in focus. So help me by submitting larger photos. Guys, I am at the end of my rope for photo reviews today. Everybody else who submitted, Riley, Shots by Mika, and Quayor, thank you for submitting. We will get to your photo reviews next week. I do photo reviews once a week. I try to when there are photo reviews. It seems that there are so many people who are now asking for photo reviews. Let's make some rules. Are you trying to be a photographer? Are you trying to be a photographer? Are you trying to be a photographer? Or are you trying to just make better photos? Are you shooting with your phone? Or are you shooting with a pro camera? You know, it's like I'm trying to do photo reviews of people who are shooting with pro gear that are really trying to lean into being a either professional photographer or eventually a professional photographer. Looking at iPhone photos, looking at random snapshots, looking at like stuff that I appreciate everybody wants an opinion on their photos, but it's not what I'm here for. I'm not here just to look at every photo that you've ever taken and give you my opinion on them. It's not what I'm trying to do. I just don't have the time to do it. Trying to look at people who are trying to be photographers and who are taking this critique into their portfolio, into their professional work. Like that's what I'm here for. That's what this channel is here for. Everybody loves photography, but there's also people who have thousands of dollars and thousands of hours of time invested that are trying to get to that next level. If you've just picked up a camera, it's a pro. I mean, some of you have just picked up a camera and I appreciate, and I'm here to help you as well. But understand that you need my mentorship program. Like my live streams, I can't give you photography school. I can't give you the foundations of photography school. I can't talk to you about like style, like it's just too much. It's impossible for me. And what you guys have to help me with is your direction. Like, hi, this is me. I've been shooting for X amount of time. This is what I'm trying to do with photography. Then submit your photos because that helps me. And also submit photography, submit a series, and also submit stuff that's recent. I just shot this. I don't want to look at photos that you shot 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, your best photo from when you were 12. Like that stuff I appreciate, but it's so not relevant to how you're shooting now. All it's doing is feeding your ego, and that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to help you be a better photographer, which is going to help if you show me what you're doing now. Cool? Does that help? All right, guys, that's it for me. I will be back again Sunday for another episode. I have videos to edit. I have so much stuff to do. I have shots to do for clients. I appreciate you guys for watching today. I'll be back Sunday for another banging episode of Behind the Picture. Thank you so much for submitting photos. See you guys soon.